Blood slicks his palm, dripping into the luminous well, yet the light flickers, dying. Across the frozen courtyard, she stands chained, moonlight burning under her skin, the king's dagger poised at her wrist. "If you take my blood, you break the oath," she whispers. 40 hours earlier, they were strangers. Elara pressed the blade to her palm and sliced. Blood welled, hot and bright. She hissed, clenching her fist, but the crimson kept spilling, staining the frostbitten stone beneath her knees.
"Faster, girl. The king waits."
Elara glared up, jaw set. The terrace was crowded with servants, all pretending not to watch. Her blood steamed in the morning chill. A shadow cut across her. Silence snapped through the crowd. The Alpha King strode in, wolf fur cloak trailing, eyes hard as hammered gold. He didn't look at her. He didn't need to.
"Out. All of you."
The command hit like a slap. Servants scattered. Lice lingered, hand heavy on Elara's shoulder.
"Leave the girl. Move."
Lice's grip tightened, then vanished. Elara's heart hammered as the king stepped closer. She could see her own blood smeared on his blade, her reflection warped in the steel. He held out his gloved hand, waiting. Elara placed the knife in his palm, careful not to meet his eyes. She expected nothing, but when she risked a glance, his gaze locked with hers. A flicker, blue-white, unnatural, pulsed beneath her wrist. The king's jaw flexed. He flinched. Not much, but enough. Why would the Alpha King recoil from her? She jerked her hand back. His mask returned, but the moment lingered, sharp as the blade between them.
"At sunset, the girl comes to my chambers."
Lys shot Elara a look, half warning, half regret.
"You heard him. Don't make me drag you, Moonblood."
The king turned, cloak swirling, boots leaving red prints on the frost. The servants crept in again, whispering behind their hands. What had she done? Why her? Elara flexed her aching fingers. The blue-white light under her skin refused to fade. She pressed her wrist to the stone, desperate to smother it. It only glowed brighter. Why is he afraid of me? Why did the Alpha King choose me? She rose, knees stiff, blood cooling on her hand. Sunset was coming, and whatever waited in the king's chambers, she would face it alone.
"Move."
Iron bit Elara's wrists as Lys yanked her forward. Her knees slammed stone. She tasted blood, sharp, metallic, real. Nobles crowded in, eyes fixed on the blue veins crawling under her skin. Someone hissed, "Moonblood." Elara spat red onto the floor. The bell tolled, muffled by fur collars and velvet. Lys hauled her upright, grip bruising. The throne loomed ahead. Alpha King Tauren stood, wolf cloak draped heavy, hands unmoving on the armrests. His gaze pinned her, hungry, calculating.
"What are you?"
His voice cut through the court. Silence fell. Lys's jaw clenched. Elara's cuffs dug into bone. Behind her, a courtier snickered. Another muttered, "Servant filth." Tauren's stare never wavered.
"Your wounds shine. That's no trick. Explain."
Elara's pulse thudded in her ears. If she lied, would he see? The torches cast jagged shadows across her face.
"Just a reflection, Your Majesty. I'm told I'm dazzling."
A ripple of uneasy laughter. Tauren's mouth tightened. His gloves creaked.
"Enough. The ritual failed. They say your blood reacts to moonlight, and my blade. Is it true?"
The shackles scraped as Elara shifted. Her veins flared blue. A noblewoman gasped, recoiling. The circle pressed closer.
"You're the king. Don't you know what's real and what's rumor?"
A strand of pale hair slipped across her cheek, faintly luminous. She tried to tuck it back, but the cuff stopped her. Sweat prickled at her collar. Tauren descended the dais. His boots struck stone, slow and deliberate. He stopped just above her, wolf pelt nearly brushing her shoulder.
"If you are moon-blooded, you belong to the crown."
The words hit harder than iron. Lys's hand hovered at her sword. No one else moved.
"I belong to myself. Keep your chains."
The air thinned. Tauren leaned closer, voice low.
"If your blood is the key, will you give it?"
There was something raw in his tone, quickly buried. Elara searched his face. Only duty stared back.
"Maybe. Depends what you do with it."
A flicker at his mouth, almost a smile, gone in an instant. The courtiers shrank back. Lys looked away. Torrhen straightened and snapped his fingers. The crowd split, velvet and fur parting. Lys stepped forward, keys jangling.
Up. Now.
Elara staggered to her feet, shackles biting deep. The hall's torches guttered, wind rattled the doors. Beneath it all, she caught a sound. Water, slow and steady, somewhere below. She glanced back. The king's shadow stretched long behind her. 15 days until the next full moon. 15 days to decide. Bleed for the crown, or burn the ritual to ash.
Show them.
Elara flinched as Captain Lys seized her arm, iron cuffs biting bone. Lys shoved her sleeve up, scraping skin.
Don't move, unless you want a broken wrist.
The courtiers pressed in, breathless. The moonwell behind the king pulsed with shifting sigils. Elara's forearm was bare, the crescent scar gleaming, icy, unnatural, impossible to hide. A hiss of whispers, fear, hunger, awe.
Is this your justice, parading me like a trophy?
Lys's grip tightened. The king stepped down, cloak trailing. He stopped close, too close. Elara caught the scent of wet fur and charred wood. He reached for her scar. Leather brushed her skin. The mark shimmered, then recoiled, as if rejecting his touch. For an instant, his hand trembled. He yanked it back. The court saw everything. A bell rang, distant and hollow. The king's voice cut through the silence.
You know the law. Each year, Moonblood must fill the well, or the curse takes another child. My blood is nearly spent.
He fixed Elara with a stare that could flay flesh.
You will bleed for us. There is no other way.
Elara met his gaze, unbroken.
You speak of sacrifice, but it's never your own blood on the stone.
A ripple of unease. Lys shifted, armor groaning.
Careful, girl. You're not irreplaceable.
Elara's jaw locked. She refused to look away from the king. But a new thought gnawed at her. Why had he flinched? What did he fear? The scar on her arm throbbed, cold and deep, as if echoing a heartbeat that wasn't hers. The king's mask slipped. For a breath, he looked haunted.
The ritual begins at dawn. Survive it, if you can.
He turned, but the moonwell's glow caught Elara's scar, livid, urgent, alive. She wondered, not if she would bleed, but what secrets the king's own wounds might spill, when the ritual scar demanded its price.
Move.
Lys shoved Elara through the doorway. Her shackles bit into her skin as she stumbled, catching herself against a velvet curtain. The fabric rasped her wrist, rough where dried blood had stiffened her sleeve. The king waited by the hearth, wool fur cloak draped over his shoulders, blue embroidery trailing behind him. He looked carved from exhaustion. Every line in his face, a tally mark for rituals, survived. Elara's chains rattled as she straightened. She met Torrhen's gaze, chin high.
Planning to strangle me with curtains? Or is that robe your real weapon?
Lys's grip tightened. Torrhen's fingers curled on the mantle, knuckles pale.
You have a sharp tongue for a prisoner.
I want terms. If you want my blood, you bargain for it.
She raised her cuffed hands, metal scraping. The velvet pressed against her wrist, a reminder that nothing here was soft for long.
You're in chains. You don't get terms.
Elara ignored her. Torrhen's eyes lingered on the crescent scar on her arm, its pale outline catching the fire's glow. His voice dropped.
Help with the right. Survive the trial of the well. Freedom is yours. That's the bargain.
He hesitated, just for a breath, as if weighing whether to trust her. The room went silent. Even the hound's distant growl faded. Elara's mouth twisted. She searched his face for a crack in the mask.
You trust my word? Or is surviving your way of making promises easy to break?
A muscle ticked in Torrhen's jaw.
If you survive, you walk free. I swear it. Before witness.
Lys hovered, hand near her sword.
Lys? You heard him?
Clear as bells. I'll carve it on your grave if you fail.
A flicker of humor, gone as quick as it came. Torrhen turned, cloak swirling, and nodded to Lys.
Prepare her.
Lys seized Elara's arm, dragging her toward the door. Elara caught the king's gaze one last time, not at her face, but at the scar on her arm. The promise of freedom felt colder than the chains. No one told her what waited in the well. The door slammed behind her. Whatever warmth the fire offered, it didn't follow. She was out of time.
Faster. The king doesn't wait.
Elara's wrists ached as the cuffs dragged across rough stone. the iron key in her fist pressed deep, colder than the wind slicing through the corridor. Liza's boots hammered ahead, red sash slicing the gloom. A guard looked away as she passed. Elara caught the tremor in his jaw. At the tower's threshold, Toran waited, wolf fur cloak billowing. He pressed the key into her shackled hand, gloved, brisk, but she felt the intent.
Inside. Use it, if you're clever. No one survives the trial by luck.
The door slammed behind her, lock grinding home. Elara squeezed the key until her palm stung. The tower coiled upward, each step steeper than the last. She paused. A hound sprawled across the entry, scars webbing its muzzle, one ear torn, its gaze fixed on her, unblinking.
You're braver than the guards, at least.
She tried the key on the nearest lock. Nothing. The window bars, solid. Trapdoor, immovable. Each failure sharpened her pulse. She ran her fingers along the wall. Beneath a glaze of ice, a groove caught her nail. She pressed. The stone shifted, grudging. The hound shuffled, tail thumping once before going still. Elara crouched by the trapdoor, ear pressed to the wood. From below, a hiss, then a metallic scrape. Not stone, chains. She straightened, voice dry.
Unless you can dig, old friend, I'm open to suggestions.
The hound leaned against her leg, heavy and warm. For a heartbeat, she let herself lean back. But the scrape below grew louder. Someone was down there. She searched the groove again. Her nail snagged on a scrap of parchment, wedged tight. She pried it free. Blue sigils shimmered, faint as breath. Her heart hammered. She pressed the key to the sigil. Both trembled. The wall shifted, just enough to reveal a slit of black. The hound bared its teeth at the gap. A chain clattered below. Then, a voice, rough, unfamiliar, rose from the dark.
Who's there? Show yourself.
Elara scraped her knuckles raw, prying at the sealed well. Stone grated under her nails, cold and unyielding. A whisper brushed her ear, too close, too real. She froze. Who's there? Only the wind answered, slipping through the arrow slit high above. She exhaled, steadying herself, and pressed her palm to the nearest moon sigil. The symbol pulsed, heat blooming beneath her skin, matching the scar on her arm. She dug at the scab on her wrist, jaw clenched, blood welled, slick and silver. She let it fall onto the sigil. The stone blazed, blue-white. Pain shot up her arm, sharp and sudden. She hissed but didn't flinch. The light raced outward, tracing ancient lines across the floor, chasing away centuries of dust. The sealed slab trembled, not open, but something inside shifted. Whispers rose, fragments, not quite words. Bind the line, break the chain. She pressed her other hand to the stone. Warmth spread beneath her fingers. A mural surfaced from the gloom, etched in faded blue and silver, a girl at its center. Ash blonde hair, crescent scar, a black ring set with a blue stone, the same ring the king wore. Footsteps pounded up the stairwell, metal on stone. Elara snatched her hand back, wiping blood on her skirt.
You're up early, or haven't slept at all, I suppose.
Elara straightened, hiding her shaking hand behind her back. Couldn't sleep. The well's louder than the guards. Lysa's eyes darted to the glowing sigils, then to Elara's bleeding wrist.
Experimenting with ancient seals now? What's next? Flying lessons?
Elara's lips twitched. Better than waiting for someone to drain me. Lys stepped closer, voice low.
If that thing answers, make sure you're ready for the question.
Elara met her gaze, stubborn. No one's ever asked what I want. The mural's girl stared back from the wall. Crescent scar burning, king's ring bright. The floor sigils pulsed. A new voice rose from the well. Soft, unmistakable. Elara. She staggered, the sound cutting through her. Blue light surged, swallowing the chamber. The well was awake, and it knew her name.
You're late, King. Or did you get lost on your way to bleed me again?
Torran's boots scraped over frost as he entered, cloak trailing shards of green where torchlight hit the ice. He didn't answer. He yanked off his glove, revealing a forearm veined with jagged, ink-dark lines. His hand shook as he flexed it. Elara watched, arms crossed, hiding the way her own fingers tingled. The blue beneath her skin pulsed, sharp as a warning.
You feel it. The curse is moving faster.
I feel a lot of things. Most of them involve wanting to punch you, but I doubt my fist would survive the impact.
He stepped closer, eyes fixed on the veins crawling up his wrist. The silence between them was brittle.
That's new. Is this your idea of royal fashion?
He didn't smile. He reached out, stopping just short of her wrist.
This isn't a game. The ritual's price is doubling. My blood, your blood. The well knows we're kin.
A jolt shot up Elara's arm. She bit her tongue, refusing to flinch. The blue in her veins brightened, and for a heartbeat, she saw fear flicker in his eyes.
If you don't fight it, it will take us both. The well is starving. Every hour, it grows hungrier.
You talk about hunger, but you're the one who locked me up and drained me. Don't pretend you're the victim here.
He hesitated. Wind rattled the arrow slits. For a moment, he looked carved from stone.
I know the cost better than anyone.
His voice cracked. He turned away, gripping the edge of the well. Elara pressed her palm to the mural, tracing the faded sigils. Heat surged through her hand, numbing her fingers. She forced herself to speak.
What if I refuse? Will your veins strangle your heart? Or do we both burn out together?
He steadied himself, breath ragged.
If the curse isn't fed, the frost will swallow the tower. Then the city. There will be nothing left. Not for you, not for me.
Elara flexed her hand. She could barely feel the iron cuff scraping her skin.
So we're both on a timer. How poetic. Maybe next year you'll grow stripes. Or spots.
He almost laughed, a short, broken sound. It died as quickly as it came. He reached out again, stopping just shy of her arm. His skin radiated cold.
Someone must make the next offering. It won't be me. The tower can't survive another failure.
Elara's smile was all teeth.
And if I say no?
He didn't answer. His eyes were darker than the night outside. The blue in her arm blazed, her numb hand spasming. Frost crept higher up the walls, crackling. The city bell tolled once, deep and final. The vibration ran through the stones, through her bones.
Choose, now.
Numbness crawled past Elara's knuckles. For the first time, her bravado faltered. The blue light in her veins exploded white. Elara jammed the iron key into the hidden panel. The lock fought her, then snapped open with a metallic gasp. She shoved the door wide, coughing as a cloud of dust hit her tongue, dry as old bones. Inside, shelves buckled under the weight of ledgers. Each spine, a year, a name. She yanked one free. The parchment threatened to dissolve in her grip, but she forced it open. Names, dozens, each followed by a date and a word. Expired, not released, not returned, just gone. Her stomach twisted. She read the same line twice, then a third time, as the truth crashed down. The king's promise of freedom was a lie. A bell rang somewhere below, muffled and distant. She flipped faster. Morel of the South Fen, 16, expired. Caris Rune Blood, expired. The last entry, 9 years ago, a child. Elara slammed the ledger shut, heart pounding. A scrap of parchment slid out. She caught it, thumb smearing the brittle seal. She unfolded it, bracing for another tally of death. To whoever finds this, the king's grandfather couldn't read. If you tell him I said so, he'll blame the wolves. Burn this after laughing. A laugh burst from her, sharp and too loud. She pressed the note to her chest, then tucked it into her belt. She'd need every scrap of defiance. The hum beneath her feet surged, rattling the shelves. She traced a sigil on the wall. Its lines shimmered, echoing the mark on her arm. Everything in this room was connected. The deaths, the records, the magic. Iron scraped outside. Elara froze. Boots approached, slow and deliberate. Captain Lice stepped in, armor catching the weak light. Her gaze swept the ledgers, the open panel, the dust still swirling.
Find what you were after?
Elara straightened, ledger clutched to her chest.
Did you know none of us ever leave?
Lice's mouth twitched. Not quite pity, not quite warning.
You're not supposed to be here.
And yet, here I am.
Liz advanced, boots grinding grit. Her hand rested on her sword.
You want honesty? Nobody does. Not when it sounds like this.
Elara's grip tightened on the letter.
He lied. The king. He dangles hope, so we'll behave. How many more before it's enough?
Liz looked away, jaw clenched.
Forget what you saw, or you'll end up on one of those pages.
The hum spiked, sharp as a warning.
Maybe that's the plan.
Lys's eyes narrowed, but she said nothing. She swung the door wider, letting in the tang of burning pine. Footsteps echoed up the stairs, more than one set. Elara's mind raced. The rituals, the lies, the ledgers. Was there any escape? She shoved the ledger back onto the shelf, parchment crumbling under her fingers, and followed Lys out. At the top of the stairs, a figure waited, cloak heavy with black fur, blocking the thin morning. Behind her, the ledger's last page fluttered open, marked only by a single streak of blue.
You lied.
The accusation snapped through the tower. Elara yanked at her shackles, iron biting her skin. The old hound pressed against her leg, steady as a heartbeat. Alpha King Tauren stopped pacing. His cloak dragged over the rug, but he kept his eyes on the floor, hands twisting.
There was never a bargain. Just a cage with softer walls.
Captain Lys leaned on her spear by the trapdoor, jaw set. The ledgers and sigils behind Elara loomed like a jury.
You demanded terms. I gave what I could.
You call that mercy?
She raised her arm. The crescent scar pulsed, blue veins threading up to her elbow. The mural across the room seemed to pulse in answer.
How many before me? How many did you promise freedom?
Wind rattled the window. The hound's head nudged her hand, grounding her as silence stretched.
None left alive. The ritual takes what it wants.
His voice cracked, barely audible.
So I'm just the next offering. You needed me to believe. Just long enough to bleed.
He finally looked at her. His face was drawn, eyes shadowed, his right hand curled, bare where a ring should be.
Consent is required. Without it,
Then I refuse.
Lys snorted, armor creaking.
Refuse all you want. The moon doesn't care.
Elara's scar throbbed, a warning. The vibration beneath the floor grew sharper, crawling up her legs. The hound shoved his head under her palm, insistent.
If I don't agree, what happens? Does the ritual fail? Or do you just kill me and fetch another girl?
Tauren stepped closer, amber eyes flicking up, then away.
if you resist, the power turns. On you, on us all. I have no choice.
She searched his face for any crack. His mouth trembled. The king who'd watched her bleed now looked ready to break.
Duty, promises, but no ring on your hand.
A flicker of pain crossed his eyes. He dropped his hand. The hound growled, then wedged himself between them, tail thumping. Lys let out a dry laugh.
He's chosen you. That's trouble.
Elara knelt, burying her fingers in the hound's fur. Real, solid, not another empty promise.
I won't die for your curse. If the ritual needs my life, you'll have to take it yourself.
Only the hound's whine, and the wind answered. The king's hands shook. Still no ring.
It was never meant to be this.
The mural's painted ring flared blue. The vibration in the floor became a tremor, rattling the chains at Elara's wrists.
Then change it. Or are you only capable of destruction?
Her challenge hung between them, heavier than iron. The hound pressed closer, heartbeat steady against her palm. Below, the vibration fractured, promising disaster. The king stared at his empty hand, frozen. The mural's ring gleamed in painted moonlight. No one moved. The tower shuddered.
Hold still.
She gripped Tauren's wrist, forcing his hand open. Blood seeped from the cut, staining her fingers. The storm rattled the tower, wind slamming the shutters. Somewhere above, green aurora twisted, casting warped patterns across the stone. Tauren winced, but didn't pull away. His jaw clenched, eyes fixed on the floor.
You always bleed for tradition, or is this just stubbornness?
He flexed his fingers, voice flat.
Tradition demands pain. I give it what it wants.
She pressed a strip of silk to his palm. The fabric was slick, almost alien after weeks of rough wool. His blood soaked through, warm against her skin.
Tradition's what got us locked in this icebox.
He almost smiled. The aurora's glow caught the scar on her arm, making it gleam. The mural behind them pulsed, the rhythm matching her heartbeat. He broke the silence.
You think you can end this curse, alone.
I don't trust kings, or their bargains.
He met her gaze, amber eyes, unblinking.
We survive together, or not at all. That's the bond.
The words landed between them, heavy as a chain. She finished wrapping his hand, her touch lingering a moment longer than necessary.
Then we hunt the real ritual, together.
He caught her hand, just for a breath. then let go. His mask slipped, just enough for her to see the fear beneath. Wind hammered the walls. The aurora's green light washed over them, turning her scar and his bandaged hand the same unnatural shade. Beneath the floor, the pulse deepened, echoing in her veins. She understood. Neither of them could win this alone. The chamber door rattled. Heavy footsteps sounded below. Someone, or something, was coming. Elara slammed her palm against the stone, keys jangling in her fist. The tunnel spat dust as Torrens stumbled in behind her, boots grinding on gravel.
You're certain this is the right place?
If you want to turn back, I won't stop you.
She crouched, scraping mud from a carved sigil with her thumb. The mark on her arm glimmered, throwing warped shadows across the steps. Torren hovered, jaw set, eyes flicking to the ceiling as if expecting it to collapse.
You enjoy tempting fate.
I enjoy answers.
She pressed forward. The air thickened, sour with the stench of old bones. Her skirt caught on something sharp. She yanked it free, refusing to slow. A heap of bones blocked the next chamber, tangled with rotting banners. Elara knelt, brushing grime from a faded crest, crescent and vine, matching the scar on her wrist.
How many times did they try to fix this? How many bodies before yours?
Torren's silence pressed in. He stared at the bones, fists clenched.
You think I don't know the cost?
I think you've never counted.
She shoved at a loose slab. It shifted, grinding. A ring of keys clattered out, along with a scroll sealed in cracked wax. Elara snatched the keys, but Torren's gloved hand caught hers. Hot, sudden. For a second, neither moved. He let go. She broke the seal with her nail, unrolling the brittle parchment. The script was faded, but 2 words burned through: royal blood and sacrifice. Her pulse hammered. She looked up, voice low.
This curse, your family started it, didn't they?
Torren's jaw worked. He didn't answer. A tremor rattled the stones. The banners stirred, green lichen glowing along the crescent.
Not all thrones are earned.
The ground lurched. From the darkness, a voice rasped her name, raw, pleading. Elara staggered back, keys digging into her skin. Wind tore through the tunnel. The banners twisted. The light vanished.
Why does she look like me?
Elara's voice cracked through the crypt, echoing off stone and silence. Her fingers pressed into the carved name on the tomb, nerves raw from cold, and something sharper. She didn't flinch when Torren stepped closer, his cloak brushing her arm. He stared at the portrait etched into the marble, a girl with silver eyes, hair loose, jaw set in stubborn defiance. Elara's own face, centuries removed.
You're not the first.
The words landed heavy, final.
No, but it seems I'll be the last.
A chain dragged as she shifted, metal scraping stone. She searched the tomb for a flaw, a secret catch, anything to break the story written here. Nothing moved but the faint shimmer under her skin.
My line made the pact. She was the first moon-blooded. My ancestor, chosen, sacrificed, sealed beneath this tower. Every full moon, the crown takes what it wants. We tried to change it, failed, every time.
Elara's tongue tasted metal.
And you? You just let it happen?
His jaw tightened. He spoke low, each word forced out.
I tried to save them. All of them. I failed. The curse adapts. It always finds a way. I am king, but the chains are older than me.
A tremor ran through the floor. Not sound, but movement, a steady pulse. Elara pressed her palm flat to the marble. The vibration matched the beat beneath her scar, insistent, alive. Overhead, moonlight broke through a new crack, flooding the crypt. Painted wolves along the walls seemed to shift, their fur catching a strange green sheen. For a heartbeat, the cold stone steadied her, her hand curled around the ancestor's name, holding tight.
Did she choose this? Did you?
Torren's gaze stayed on the tomb.
I was born to it. They say she volunteered to save the kingdom. But stories change. Sometimes, sacrifice is just another word for murder.
The torch behind them sputtered. Elara's breath came fast, skin prickling as the ancestor's face stared up at her.
You said I'm not the first. Say it. Am I the last?
He reached for her, not to bind, but to anchor. His hand covered hers, skin to skin. For a moment, the pulse of the curse faded.
You are not the last, and I am not the first.
Regret, warning, promise, all tangled in his voice. Above, the ceiling split wider. Moonlight poured in, washing everything white. The wolf's eyes flared green. The pulse in Elara's arm surged, blue meeting green. Impossible and wild. She pressed her fingers deeper into the carved name, daring to believe the cycle could break. The marble thrummed beneath her hand, as if the dead girl might answer. A chunk of stone dropped from overhead. Cold air rushed in. The moon's light grew harsher.
If the story changes, who writes the ending?
The crypt waited, breathless, for someone to decide.
Move.
Elara flinched as Lys's shadow blocked the stairwell, red sash slashing across her armor. Shackles bit into Elara's wrists, but she forced herself upright, chains rattling. Above, Tauren's voice cut through the stone.
Captain, I am summoned. Guard her until I return.
Boots hammered away, fading fast. The court's shouts pressed down, urgent, hungry. Lys didn't budge. Her hand hovered over her sword.
You planning to start a riot? Or just sabotage the king's last chance?
Elara's throat was raw. She eyed a patch of pale light leaking through the frost-streaked slit in the wall.
If I did, would it work?
Lys snorted, unimpressed.
Don't get smart. The king's barely holding them back. If you run, they'll throw you to the well. If you fight...
A crash below. The old hound barreled up, scattering armor. Tail wagging like this was all a game. Elara almost laughed, but it came out as a cough. Lys's glare sharpened.
You think this is a joke?
No, Captain. But if your hound keeps wrecking the place, maybe I'll have company at my execution.
Lys's mouth twitched, almost a smile.
You'd risk everything just to walk free?
Elara's arm throbbed, iron sticky against her skin. She wanted to say yes, to break every oath these walls had ever heard.
Maybe your king should have made better bargains.
The words landed hard. Lys looked away, jaw tight.
He's not. Forget it. Doesn't matter.
The hound nosed a fallen helmet toward Elara, then pressed its head against her hand. She gripped the fur, steadying herself as the court's uproar swelled overhead. She studied the sigils, the stairs, the single thread of light. Run and be hunted. Stay and risk everything. Her blood for their chains. Tauren's hand, trembling, flashed through her mind. His command, brittle as dried leaves. She straightened, chains scraping.
I'll need keys and time.
Lys hesitated, then slipped a hand into her sash. The hound growled as another crash echoed up the stairs, armor tumbling, chaos rising. Above, the court's fury broke loose, voices colliding in a storm. Elara made her choice. She would risk the kingdom for a life that was never hers to bargain. The first scream from the court split the morning.
Move.
She slammed her palm onto the well's rim, scar pressed to the ancient sigil. The stone bit back, cold and unyielding. Her blood welled up, blue and searing, hissing as it met the rune. The mural overhead, girl with crescent scar, cracked down the cheek. A bell clanged somewhere above. The hound at her side whined, claws scrabbling on slick stone. Elara forced her wrist harder, vision tunneling. The taste in her mouth was bitter, metallic, wrong.
Break, damn you.
The sigil pulsed, hungry. Her blood pooled, mixing with centuries of sacrifice. The stone vibrated beneath her hand, feverish. Boots thundered behind her, chains dragged. Tauren's voice, raw.
Enough.
She spun, cuffs clattering. Tauren strode from the shadows, wolf fur cloak swirling. His hands were bare, knuckles split and bleeding, fury in his eyes. No, something worse. Desperation.
You want to see the end? Don't stop me.
You have no idea what you're risking.
He dropped to one knee, seized her wrist. His grip bruised, almost pleading. Their scars flared. Hers blue, his gold, molten and bright. For a heartbeat, their faces hovered inches apart, breath sharp in the chill.
Let go. I'm not your pawn.
He slammed her hand to the well, pressing his own over hers. Blood from his knuckle mingled with hers, soaking the sigil. Pain surged, white-hot, electric. Her knees buckled.
This will kill you.
So be it.
The tower shuddered, mortar rained down. The mural's cracks spidered wider. The well roared beneath their hands, blood pooling, heat radiating up her arm. The hound pressed against her shin, anchoring her. Elara's vision blurred, but she held on. Tauren's breath rasped at her ear.
You think you're the only one desperate?
He forced more blood out, jaw clenched, the sigil's green twisted to blinding white. Pain blurred everything. Her world shrank to blood and stone. A stone split with a shriek. The mural's painted hand peeled from the wall, reaching. Unnatural, wrong. The air soured, sharp as burnt metal. Elara tried to wrench free. Torin held fast. Their blood flooded the rune, burning.
What are you afraid of?
He didn't answer. The vibration grew. Agony, relentless, drowning thought. The hound growled, then sprawled across their feet, a living weight as the world threatened to tear apart. The pressure snapped. Light exploded from the well. Blinding. Ilara's vision narrowed to a pinprick. She heard Torin's heartbeat, frantic, matching her own. For a breath, everything stilled. The mural's face caved inward. The sigil flared, then flickered. Their blood was the only thing real, hot and bright on stone. Then silence. The vibration vanished. Only wind and the hound's breathing remained. Elara pried her eyes open. Torin's hand still gripped hers, both slick with blood, trembling.
What did we just do?
Before he could answer, a crack split the floor between them, slicing through the blood-soaked sigil. Down, deep, into the dark. The curse was not finished. Elara jerked upright, breath ragged, stone scraping her spine. Her hands shot out, pain lanced through her palms. She stared at the wounds. Raw, crusted, no glow, only emptiness. Opposite, Torin dragged himself to sitting, hair plastered to his brow, tunic torn and stained. His hands were bare, split open, blood dried in the lines. He blinked at her, voice rough.
You're awake.
She nodded, swallowing against the ache in her throat. The silence pressed in. No bells, no footsteps, just the faint shuffle of the old hound limping to her side. Its head nudged her knee. She let her fingers tangle in its fur, grounding herself in the animal's steady warmth. Torin shifted closer, boots scraping. He hesitated, then dropped to one knee beside her, gaze fixed on the floor.
You broke the curse.
His voice cracked. She forced herself to meet his eyes, her own hands trembling.
Isn't that what you wanted?
He shook his head, a bitter sound escaping.
Not like this. I gambled everything. The kingdom, the line.
He broke off, fists clenching in the dust. The hound whined, pressing closer.
So you chose me over your crown. That's what you're saying?
He looked up, all the kingly distance gone.
I didn't come back for the throne.
Her chest tightened. She reached for him, and he met her halfway. Their hands pressed together, wounds aligning, pain sharp but real. It anchored her. He leaned in, their mouths met, hungry, desperate, tasting iron and loss. When they broke apart, she was gasping, vision swimming. Torin pressed his forehead to hers, voice barely a breath.
I would have let it all fall if it meant you survived.
A laugh escaped her, unsteady.
I survived, but the power's gone.
She flexed her palm. Nothing answered. No shimmer, no warmth, just hollow skin. From the broken arch, sunlight slashed across the floor, catching on blood and rubble. For the first time they sat side by side, not ruler and prisoner, but equals, scarred, breathing, uncertain. Below, wind rattled through the empty halls. The curse was broken, but at what cost? She stared at her hand, questions burning she couldn't voice. A door creaked on the stairs. Heavy boots climbed, closer with every step. Elara hesitated, ruined hands exposed. The price of freedom wasn't paid in blood. It was still coming due.
Move aside, or I'll throw you both off this terrace.
Elara jerked, startled, as Liz stomped past and leaned over the railing, scanning the courtyard below. Sunlight slashed across Liz's battered armor, catching on dried blood and dented steel. The courtyard roared with voices, children shouting, someone singing off-key, boots pounding against stone. Torin grunted, rubbing his eyes. His cloak dragged snow onto Elara's boots. He didn't seem to notice.
They're louder than the War Council ever was.
Elara pressed her hand to the stone ledge. The roughness scraped her palm, nerves raw but alive. She watched a boy in a blue cap spin his sister around, both shrieking with laughter. The sound hit her like a blow. Real, unafraid.
I forgot what that sounded like.
Lys snorted, then jabbed a finger at the crowd.
You did that. Don't pretend you didn't.
Torin's voice dropped, pitched for Elara alone.
They'll remember you. Even when the scars fade,
She met his gaze, searching for the old distance. It was gone. Only awe, and something wounded, remained. A chant started. Elara, Elara! It rolled through the courtyard, clumsy and wild, swelling as more voices joined. Elara's throat tightened. She blinked hard, vision swimming. Tauren reached for her hand, hesitating. She let him take it, their scars pressed together. His grip was steady, thumb tracing the edge of her old wound. A ring of wildflowers arced through the air, landing at her feet. Petals scattered, some melting instantly against the stone. Lys straightened, suddenly formal.
You saved us, not just the king. All of us. That's more than any oath I ever swore.
She knelt, fist to stone. The crowd stilled. Then, one by one, people dropped to their knees. Not tradition. Something new, raw. Tauren's jaw worked. He stepped forward, voice rough.
Stand with me, as queen. Not prisoner, not sacrifice. Choose us.
The world seemed to pause. Elara bent, lifted the wildflower crown, and set it on her head. She faced the crowd, voice clear.
I am Elara of no house. I claim only this dawn. If you'll have me, I'll be your queen. But the old blood ends here. We build new, together.
The response was instant. Cheers, laughter, someone sobbing. Lys whooped, undignified. Elara let the noise crash over her, let it fill every hollow place. Tauren's voice, thick, barely carried.
A new line begins.
She squeezed his hand, fierce.
Let it be better.
A flock of doves burst from the bell tower, scattering white feathers. The terrace door slammed open, hard. A messenger staggered in, blood on her collar, clutching a crimson-sealed letter. The kingdom's first dawn was not finished.
It's over. The mark's dead. No more pulse.
Tauren didn't answer at first. He flexed his bare hands on the table, scars catching the edge of the morning.
You're sure?
Elara shoved her sleeve up, exposing the faded crescent. It looked like nothing now. A memory, not a threat.
I'm sure. Whatever bound me to the well, to you, it's gone.
The old hound nosed her knee, tail thumping. She tossed him a crust. He snapped it up, then nudged Tauren's boot for more. Tauren almost smiled. He slid his signet ring across the table. It landed between them, heavy and cold.
I left that at the well. The line ends with me.
His voice caught, just for a second.
The curse needed a witness. The first moonblood had bound it. The last could break it, if she survived.
Elara stared at the ring, thumb tracing the thin crack along its edge.
So all the stories, the murals, the ledgers, they only mattered if someone lived to remember?
He nodded, jaw tight.
I was afraid I'd be left with nothing but ghosts. Not your power, your absence.
She let that settle. For once, she didn't feel hunted or haunted, just alive.
Why give up the throne before the ritual?
Tauren's answer was quiet.
What's a crown worth if it costs everything else?
She picked up the ring. It was colder than she expected. Heavier, too.
And Lys? She could have stopped me. She didn't.
Tauren's mouth tightened.
Her oath was to the kingdom. She chose you, not me.
Elara exhaled, the taste of old iron on her tongue. The hound sprawled at her feet, content. She slid the ring into her pocket. Not as a claim, just proof she'd survived.
If the well calls again, it won't be my blood answering. The curse is finished.
Tauren's eyes met hers. No armor, just the raw edge of relief and fear.
Then you decide what happens to the line, not me.
Elara stood, sunlight catching the faded mark on her arm.
No more bargains, no more chains. If the past comes calling, I'll answer on my terms.
Bootsteps approached, measured, deliberate. Lys appeared in the doorway, gaze sharp, unreadable. Elara met her eyes, then Tauren's. The old lines were gone. She smiled, just a little.
One last secret. The last moonblooded isn't a prisoner. She decides what comes next.
Bells rang outside, loud, wild, unstoppable. Elara strode for the door, the hound at her side, Lys matching her step for step. Her feet were her own again. She paused, glancing back at the king, the scar, the empty throne. The past was over, but the reckoning wasn't. To hear what Elara chooses when the final night falls, listen on.
You two coming? Or should I fetch a ladder? The court's getting restless.
Elara didn't move. She pressed her palm over Tauren's gloved hand, pinning it to the balustrade. Her voice was steady.
Let them wait. I'm not running anymore.
Tauren's gaze flicked to her scar, now a faint crescent. He exhaled, slow, uncertain.
You could have left. No one would have stopped you.
Elara shook her head, lips twisting.
I'm done hiding. I choose this, on my terms.
Below, the crowd's cheers surged, banners snacking in the wind. The bells rang again, sharper, urgent. Tauren unclasped his cloak and set it across her shoulders, the fur heavy, unfamiliar.
Then stand with me. The court needs to see it.
She straightened, cloak and wool blending, former captive and king's heir side by side.
No more blood, no more fear. That ends with us.
He nodded, tension draining from his frame.
Say it. Make it real.
A white feather spiraled down, landing at Elara's feet. She bent, picked it up, memory flickering, mural, crypt, the girl crowned in white. She met Tauren's eyes.
From this dawn, all bonds are chosen. Mine, yours. No more chains.
Lice snorted, boots tapping behind them.
History's made. Now move, or I'll start without you.
Elara smiled, just enough. She stepped forward, hand locked with Tauren's. The terrace that had tasted her blood now bore only the echo of voices rising from below. A breeze caught the feather, spinning it against broken stone, beside the king's ring, half buried in thawing snow. Elara's gaze lingered, not on the ring, not on the past, but on the world waiting below. The bells faded, the kingdom waited. Some choices outlast the dawn. Elara risked everything to break the old cycle. But if you held the ring, would you let it go or claim it for yourself? The story ends here, but the next oath is yours.